Okay, I wanted to share one little thing with everybody before we get started. Welcome. I'm so excited about this call. We're going to do this the next 3 weeks. I love these calls when we're in transition phase from ending an accountability group to a new accountability group. Doing this training and inspiration. We do this intentionally with people from our team because we have so many strengths on our team. And I think that there's such power when we come together and when we learn from one another. And so we've named this training and inspiration, where we're going to get a little bit of training from somebody that's doing seeing growth in their business. They've got some great tips and great strategy that they can share with us. And then we also are going to do inspiration so we can build that belief by hearing our team members' stories with the products. Because I think the longer we're here, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I kind of am like, I forget how powerful these products can be. And so it's important for me to have reminders. And so that's what this is going to be for the next 3 weeks. But before we get started, I've got this little Magnolia subscription, this magazine, and I got it last night in the mail. And this particular article is about seed to sapling. And there was something that was said here that just made me like pause for a minute and think about our business, think about anything that is worthwhile. So one of the quotes here says, "Even the biggest oak trees start small, and sprouting one from an acorn reminds us lasting growth isn't won overnight." I'm going to read that one more time because I think it's really powerful, because I think we're in such a fast society where we're looking side to side and we're seeing other people growing. We're getting into our heads. We want to see fast growth. And this is just a really great reminder. So she says here, "Even the biggest oak trees start small, and sprouting one from an acorn reminds us lasting growth isn't won overnight." So whether that's maybe mending relationships, or that's growing in your faith, or that's your plexus business, that's potty training a child, any type of situation where it requires effort, like it's not going to happen overnight, but there's such beauty in that growth process. And so I feel like we're in a season of learning and growing and working on our patience and trying to strategize and trying to get creative. And that's really important. This is the time in our business where we can really learn lessons, because I really do believe that we're at a place where we are like right on the cusp of so many of our businesses just really exploding. And so I'm just excited for that. But I just wanted us to sit and pause in that reminder that lasting growth isn't won overnight. So we're going to go ahead and pass it off to our beautiful friend Carly. She's going to share a little bit of her health story. If you guys have questions, maybe throw them in the chat and she can address those after her little spiel. But I did say for us to have a little bit of time for Q&A after she goes. So go ahead, Carly.
Okay, hi. Got nervous. Yeah, so a little bit about me. I know I have a big team. I met a lot of you in Nashville, but I live in Boise. I am under Hannah, and how I got introduced to Plexus was worked with Hannah, and I'm a nurse at St. Luke's, so we worked on the pediatric floor together. And my story actually starts in like 2018. I was one of those like people that was attracted for weight loss. And so in January 2018, even though in November 2017, I was diagnosed with hashimotos, which is one big reason why I was suddenly finding myself like struggling with weight, and everything, that I used to be able to do to cut weight was not working. And then I was going to get married I did get married in July 2018. And so anyways, was my initial carrot. And so I signed up, did it. Meanwhile, I'm newly diagnosed with Hashimoto's, and they're watching my labs because you have to dial in your meds. Yeah, baby.
Daddy tried that tomato.
Oh, good.
And I found this little thing.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, it's like fertilizer. Sorry. Anyway, so I did not understand the whole connection with my gut and my thyroid. Actually, I had heard some whispers about certain diet things, and my endocrinologist at that time just was like, meh, it doesn't really help. Like, basically, it wasn't going to like cure you. So, you basically have to take meds. So you don't need to worry about doing anything like that. So, I tried it for like, I don't know. I think I ordered twice, but really only did it for a month. But in that first month, I got my thyroid labs checked and my TSH dropped like undetectable. Did not put it together, just did not understand what was really going on. But just, when you are so ingrained in this weight loss, fad diet type mentality that, I was looking for a quick fix. And that's honestly why I just didn't understand the bigger picture of the importance of gut health at that time. So I stopped and I restarted because, Hannah was always consistent in sharing. And then I, became a mom and I was still not feeling that good. My thyroid levels were stable, but I was still like very symptomatic with hashimotos and hypothyroidism. And that means just like fatigue, like no energy, which makes you feel like depressed, difficulty losing weight, constipation. So like, low GI motility, everything slows down with Hashimoto's. Your thyroid metabolism is not working right. So anyway, I started to learn more about gut health. I had finally got to a point where I was like, you know what? I need to do something different. I want to start to prepare my body for another baby. I don't want to have to like barely survive. So I can imagine needing to sleep as much as I did with one kid if I'm going to have two kids. So how do I feel better? And that's when I started to learn about your gut related to autoimmune disease and inflammation, had a bunch of labs drawn. My inflammatory markers were really high. My thyroid antibodies were sky high. And I just other minerals were low. It just, obviously lots of nutrient depletion. And so I did embark on a little bit of a functional medicine journey with a clinic here. And what did they have me do? They had me start on like probiotics and take vitamins and then do some diet elimination stuff. So I went on kind of a intense gluten, dairy, soy elimination for 3 to 4 months. And I did see lab improvement. But Hannah was still sharing about this pink drink, and she was pregnant again, and I was pregnant again, and I just really struggled with milk supply with my first, and I just was still not great with my, bowel movements. And so I was like, those were the 2 reasons why I messaged her back up and was like, okay, I want to do this. I want a good milk supply, and I really don't want to be constipated, especially when I'm pregnant. That's terrible. So those are the 2 reasons why I re-signed up. And then I, so kept going with pregnancy, didn't struggle at all with constipation. So that was already like, I'm all in there, because that's just, when you struggle with that and then you don't want to ever struggle with that again. And I noticed like during the rest of my pregnancy is I was like not swollen at all. I remember being on the postpartum unit and getting my assessments, and the nurses are like, oh yeah, you don't have any swelling. And I felt really good through pregnancy. I didn't have any, like really hardly any discomfort. And my milk came in so fast, and I I don't know, I just had such a beautiful nursing journey. Sorry, I'm gonna tear up. That it like was, and also when I had Alice, there was still like formula crisis going on. So to know that I had this like freezer getting full of breast milk, because I was balancing out my hormones. And, my insulin was stable, and thyroid health affects breast milk supply. So having Hashimoto's put me at higher risk of struggling with low milk supply. And so all of that was super awesome. And then I'm continuing to get labs checked with functional medicine. I get them checked, throughout pregnancy regularly. I was able to drop my thyroid meds sooner in pregnancy than normal, and then drop them like 2 more times postpartum. And the biggest thing for me is now my T3, which the T3 is like really where all the magic is. Your body needs T3 to like really do all the work that your thyroid does. You have to be able to convert your TSH to T3, and optimal levels is always above like 3. And historically, it was really hard for me to convert well. And that's a big win for me because now I convert better. And that's and I'm not gluten, dairy, soy free anymore. So I have better labs with Plexus, not strictly gluten, dairy, soy free. So that's been a huge win for me, and just proof of like healing my gut and lowering my inflammation. My inflammatory markers have all gone down. My insulin level was like in the 8 range, and it's like around 2 now, last time I had it checked. And so, I started sharing, like, I think I messaged Hannah like 1 week into maternity or something, and wanted to start sharing, enjoying the opportunity for just the milk supply and constipation reasons. But as I've been going on and, relating back to Emily, I guess you're talking about, planting of the seed is that, and what we tell our customers is there are layers to unravel. And it's so true, because another one of my huge wins, I didn't know was going to happen until 6 months postpartum when my period came back. And I was actually at my first Gold retreat, and did not know it was going to happen, and was so nervous because I didn't pack any ibuprofen. And historically, I would have to take gobs of ibuprofen to get through my cycle. The first like 2 to 4 days, if I remembered when I was scheduling work, I would try to not schedule myself the first day of my period. Like, it kind of ran my life a little bit, and if I did have to work, or, I would pre-medicate the night before, or I would wake up and I would be in so much pain. I would need a heating pad. I would need hot shower. I have like left hotel rooms at a friend's bachelorette party in Nashville to like go sit in the hotel hot tub at 6 a.m. as soon as I could, because I was in so much pain, and stayed out in the hallway because I didn't want to wake up the other people in my room. Just awful. I have friends that are like, yeah, I remember how much pain you used to be in. And now I have not taken ibuprofen at all. That was last October. I have not taken any ibuprofen for period pain since it came back. I remember Danielle gave me some Ease just in case on the Gold retreat, because she was like, well, I have this, you could try this. And I took it just preventatively, because historically I would need 9,000 milligrams of ibuprofen that week. So that to me is huge, and something about, that we accept as normal. We accept PMS as normal, but it's really not. You're not supposed to experience that kind of pain, the hormone fluctuations, all that kind of stuff. So that's been another huge win, and just continuing to have energy, just continuing to, not need naps every day. Actually, my baby needed a little contact napping today, and I realized, like, in a way, I kind of missed her a little bit more in that way, because I like made Adeline contact nap so much, almost because I needed the sleep so much that I needed her to sleep as best as she could. And that was on me because I needed the sleep. And it's just so much different to be able to have the energy to go do a workout, take my daughter to swim lessons, come home, do lunch, clean house, make dinner, and not feel like I'm dragging all day anymore. And being able to, even like all the trips we've done this summer, I would used to have all this anxiety about getting home late if I had to work the next day because I knew how tired it would make me. And I don't even blink an eye or anything like that because I know it just is what it is. I work tomorrow and it's going to be fine. So all these things just show you like how important it is to heal your gut and to be consistent and to know that it takes time, it takes consistency, and that it's not something that you just do for 1 month. It's something that I think Lacey made a post once about, it's kind of like you brush your teeth every day. So that's my story. And I'm so grateful to be here and being a part of this team. It's obviously having all these health wins has helped to boost my own confidence. Being a part of this team has helped, with my mindset and just all around. I just feel like I'm a better person now. So anyway, I'll look at
So
questions.
beautiful, Carly. So many awesome notes just from your story alone. So I just want to make sure I'm understanding the timeline. So you started Plexus, but you were looking for the quick fix weight loss wins, and you didn't see that quickly, so you stopped. But you were having, within that time, your THS dropped within months of just in that initial time. Is that right with your time frame?
Yeah, so my TSH, I guess I did kind of use it for 2 months because I did buy it for 2 months. I wasn't maybe as consistent the second month, if I remember right. It was a long time ago now, but I remember getting my thyroid levels drawn and my TSH was undetectable, which means I was way overtreated. And so they actually took me off the medication. And then I stopped using Plexus because I just, of course I didn't have like any weight loss wins yet because I had only been on it
But
for
that's not what you were going for. You weren't even going for
no
the
thyroid. No,
You were
mm-mm.
going
I had no like idea that was like
so
part of it.
in this story, I am reminded of how important our presence on social media and educating is, because you do have
Mhm.
people like Carly, who many of our customers start the products because they see the before and after, or they hear about the before and afters, and they want that, and they want that fast. And it doesn't matter how great we are at signing them up on the phone and educating them ahead of time. So many people just kind of want that, when they're spending that kind of money, they want to see those big changes. And so that's why, one, it's really important to there are 5 non-scale victories that I always am talking about with my customers. I'm always asking them, are they noticing? And feel free to make a note of this if you don't do this as well, but I'm always asking my customers if they're seeing any non-scale victories yet, such as more energy, deeper sleep, better mood, better digestion, and less sugar cravings. I will write that out in the chat when Haley starts speaking, but I always am talking through those things because we know that it's going to take a while for the weight loss. So I'm always doing that. But Carly, I'm hearing that Hannah's consistency in sharing and her education, along with you being more in tune with your body and with the lab work and what the naturopath was talking about with healing your gut, that connected you back with Hannah, and then that gave you more hope and vision of, you need to stick with this a little bit longer, and these are things you need to be looking for. The weight will come, but these are the non-scale victories that you need to be looking for. That's incredible. So what did you start on? I'm assuming the triplex.
Yeah.
And which
And honestly, it did. I know some people have asked about this because some people they've had people in functional medicine that whatever. Another reason why what helped me, I guess, was I was like, all right, well, I know this functional medicine provider already put me on a bunch of probiotics. it was a better price point for me to use Plexus, coupled with I started paying more attention to I was a member of Trust Your Gut. Whenever that was created, Hannah had added me to anyway, even though I think I was not a current customer at that time. And so I started just paying more attention to what she was posting, what was in Trust Your Gut. And then when I started, I was actually pregnant. So when I restarted, it was early November 2021. And so I started with the triplex MBA because since I was pregnant, I didn't want to do hunger control. And I pretty much just did that for the whole pregnancy. I didn't start like X Factor Plus because I had other prenatals that I had a ton of until after. Probably last summer, I started incorporating X Factor Plus and a Vital Biome into the regimen. And more recently, I've started I try to get in Ease and Mega X as well, just to cover all those bases.
But when you started to see the changes, it was on triplex MBA. Carissa, I think, asked a question of if you remember, I mean, your body was changing a lot because you were pregnant, but do you remember about how long it was until you started to see some changes with your lab work and some of those non-scale victories?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know when like the period changes would have happened because I had been on triplex for almost a year when I had my first cycle. But you know, obviously the digestion component was very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. The sleep, that's kind of harder to say too. I feel like I didn't really struggle with that a whole lot anyway. I think I can fall back to sleep much faster now than I used to. I was also like rounding third trimester when I started, so that's kind of hard to judge. I sleep great now. And my energy though, while I was pregnant, I felt like really good. And I had this one to keep up with. And that was, I felt like that was pretty close to immediate as well, just because it just, yeah, I didn't feel like I was struggling pregnancy.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, it is different because of your body changing all the things in your body with pregnancy. Well,
but like postpartum, I was not like, I hardly took naps at all. Like it was awesome to just be able to be present and not feel like I was hit by a truck.
Well, Carly, I'm sure everybody's going to want to know. In the chat, would you type out like what your regimen is with the triplex, like how much you take, when you take it, if you are starting to notice fatigue or you're starting to notice, constipation or anything like that? Would you share kind of what in the chat, like what you do? Maybe you bump some things up. And then you guys, if you have more questions for Carly, maybe you can just be kind of looking at the chat, Carly, and if you don't mind just answering them in there. And then I know that Carly would be more than happy to answer any questions too privately. She's such a sweet soul. She's a nurse by trade, and so she's very much a helper, and she's just such an amazing woman. So you guys, I'm excited that we got to hear her story because we do have so many people that deal with thyroid issues. And so this is incredibly encouraging. Carly, thank you so very much for sharing your story. You're the best. Okay, now we get to transition to Haley. And Haley is a woman of many talents. She is a really great dancer at Maren Moore's concerts. We all got to see that. That was really fun. She also is a hairstylist. We met through her doing my hair. She's a photographer and she is a killer business owner. And so she's going to talk tonight a little bit about some tips, some strategies and things on photography. And I'm thinking a little bit of social. So Haley, go ahead.
Hi guys. Okay, so this is my first time sharing my screen. So tell me.
I'm so impressed that you got something put together.
Oh my gosh, but now why is it not going?
Okay, you push share screen.
Mm-hmm.
Little box pop up for you,
Yep.
and then you just click share.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
No,
Oh, there it is. Ah,
see it?
yep.
There. Look at you.
Ah, okay. Let me see here. Okay, I can see you, so tell me. Okay, can everyone see that? Okay, guys. So the training we're gonna do tonight, I called it the selfie class you didn't know you wanted. Because no one really asked for a selfie class, but there's a lot of little things that you can tweak to make your photos even better. Because really, as we know in social media, the photo is what's gonna get someone to stop and read your caption. This is not meant for you guys to go through your old photos and delete them and be like, oh my gosh, these don't fit the criteria. This is just little tips and tricks to tweak them to cut down on your time taking selfies and any photos of anything. So first thing I'm gonna talk about is actually selfies. There's a whole bunch of amazing women. I just grabbed some screenshots of some different photos, different angles, different fun things like that. This is, if you wanted to be hands-on, you can grab your phone, kind of change around with that. So I'm gonna show you a couple tips and tricks. Also, I know we are all guilty. If you look at my phone, I have like 50 selfies and I pick like one photo. So this is just different ways to kind of cut that down so you're not spending 45 minutes taking a selfie, which I hope we're not spending that much time. Okay, so the first tip is find the angle that makes you feel the most confident. So what I mean by that is when I'm doing a photo session, one of the first things I ask people is there a side that you prefer? It's not meant to point someone out. It's just that some people feel more confident in that one side. And if you love both sides straight on anything, that's amazing. But if you're having that kind of off day and you feel like none of your selfies are like looking like you or looking good, always fall back to that one side. If you're unsure of what side you like best, one of my biggest tips is I always ask people this. I'm like, okay, so you can see me, right, Em? Or can you just see? Okay. So when I ask people what side they like best to fall back on, I have them hold up their camera and immediately I turn my chin like this. So this is a side that I always feel more confident on. It doesn't mean I don't photograph every different angle. It just means when I'm having like a chubby day, like that is the side that I'm like, okay, this is the side I like best. The second step is find your best lighting. One of my biggest tips and tricks is I am a natural light photographer. So I'm a little biased, but I hate fluorescent lighting. Even like right now, I have my windows open and the light above me is actually off. It's a free ring light. So what I do is whenever I'm shooting a photo shoot or just taking selfies, I walk around to the different windows. The time of the day is going to change that up, but you're going to walk over to the window and you're going to be able to see kind of what works best. I shot a little example. So some of these photos are cheesy, but I was trying to illustrate a point. So the first photo, the lighting is even and consistent, and I'm actually facing a window. I'm not pressed up against it. I'm a little back farther, depending on the light of day. If you're too close, what will happen is your photo will be blown out. And all that means is like the outline won't be as sharp and it'll be like way too harsh. And I don't need any more paleness added to me. The second one, you can see the window is behind me. What that does is it causes a lot of distractions. You can actually see my phone on my shirt. Also, look at my under eyes. It just creates a lot of shadows and emphasizes anything that's already dark. Some people have asked me, like, what if I don't have like an aesthetically pleasing place? I'm no Joanna Gaines. Like, I wish my house looked like that. But these are the 3 spaces in my house that I actually photograph the most in. The first one is my bike in that little corner. I take a lot of pictures right up against that little tree, that little fig leaf thingy thing. What that is very little space. Because if you think about it, you don't need a huge, huge space to take a photo. Your photo is only, this big. So look at those spaces. They don't have to be beautiful. You don't have to have this immaculate space. Your house doesn't even have to be clean. Shove the toys out a little bit and you got a space. The next step I say is I call it Go Gadget Arms. And then I wrote that and I wondered how many people actually got that reference versus like how old we all are. Yes. So when I'm taking a selfie, once again, you can totally you can totally have it right here. You're going to get so much more photo if you're holding it back like this. So my amazing husband did this for me. So what we did is we went out and once again, super cheesy, but I wanted to show you the difference between these photos. The first photo, the camera is straight out. So look at the photo, what you get. You capture that rock and you get a great photo, but the next photo over is, I call that the MySpace pose. You captured more of the ground. So the first photo versus the second photo, you see more rock. The next one, you see more background as the background and the ground. And the third, if anyone saw me at convention, that is like my signature pose. I am crouching down. My legs are kind of bent, all flamingo-y like, or whatever you want to say. And that is my best angle. The reason I personally love that one is if you're comparing the 3 photos, my chin is out more. So I'm stretched out a little bit more. Also, you get a little bit more of the background depending on what you're trying to capture. With that saying said, is be aware of your body posture. When I'm photographing someone, we all tend to like stiffen up and not know what to do with your hands. So what I tell people do, shake out your shoulders a little bit, put your shoulders back, stretch your neck out just a tiny bit, like, you know, it doesn't have to be that like over like top like this, and then shake it out. And just kind of like, if you start to get stiff, I always tell people, just get the wiggles out, get the wiggles out. It actually really helps. Once again, shake it off and have fun. These are not meant to be structured business photos. When you're taking a selfie or anything like that, they're not meant to be structured, you know, like holding a book or anything that you see. So shake it off, have a little fun. If you're not feeling like you're getting that perfect smile that you love, and you're like, this is super cheesy, I'm taking a picture in my kitchen, ha ha ha, say monkeys, or as we learn at convention, say ee, and you'll kind of get that forced fake smile. I do that with little kids all the time. A lot of the times they tell people say cheese, and it does this. It like scrunches up. If you say the E's, that's why they said like monkeys or E, it forces that smile to come on. Also, what I mean shake it off is not every photo has to be your hands straight down. Put your hands up, play around with it, jump around. I'm constantly always moving my shoulders because you only need one photo. Take as many as you want. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be having a good time. And the photos that you love the most are gonna be the ones that show your personality. My personal favorite ones are the ones that I'm like dying laughing and I got my scrunchy nose on, because you can tell the difference between that photo and the photo where I'm like a fake, like cheesy smile. Also, another tip, don't forget that mirror selfie. This is a great way. Also kind of shows off your background of your house, so depend on your space. But this is a great way to capture like a full outfit. I love to do this at the gym if you're showing off your outfits, anything like that. It's also great for a pose for a progressive photo progression. Ugh. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about product photos. I love all these examples because even though they're both showing off like small items, they're each a different photo, a different angle, something fun. Once again, don't feel like every photo that you're taking has to be superposed. Have fun with it. Look at the product. Look around. The photo, you want people to stop and look at that photo and be like, why is she still smiling? What is she holding? That photo is going to get people to read your caption. If you're not comfortable showing, you don't want your Instagram page to be like all selfies and your face up there, think of different ways that you can hold that product. So I grabbed a couple of these and these couple of examples that I stole from my page and a couple other people's, but I just created my own background. We got my yoga mat, which ties in I'm drinking active. My suitcase, I'm packing all my stuff. This is a gorgeous photo. She's a photographer from Boise and she always has like the most aesthetically pleasing. She popped all those pinks together. Like how brilliant is that? Like just color coding those little things makes your eye visually drawn to that photo. Also like the kids microbiome, holding hands, anything like that. Just when you're taking photos of products, you can see on the one with the suitcase, the lighting does hit it to a side. That just happens with bottles. If you feel like you can't capture the whole thing, step a little bit more into the shade. And if you are setting your products down, this sounds really cheesy, but shake the product so all the pills line up at the bottom or the supplements, and then I'll hold the bottle still so it's not rolling all over when you're taking your photo. So, okay. So this is one of my, this is like my one weird thing that I have is I used to do hair and I ran the social media for my salon. One thing that drives me absolutely insane, and this is a weird little thing that I have, is before and afters. So I did 3 different before and afters, and I'm gonna tell you what's right and what's wrong, in my opinion, with these photos. Okay, out of all 3 of these photos, what is the one photo that captures, like which one of those photos do you think tells the best story? I hope everyone says number 2, because that's the one that I personally like. The reason I don't like the first one is the proportions are off. You have no clue if that photo is just zoomed in. It doesn't tell a good story because some people are gonna be like, okay, she just zoomed that photo in. It still shows no progress. The third photo, I put the after photo first. When people are reading, you always read left to right. So if you put your after photo first, I know my brain always goes, oh my gosh, like, is that the first or the second? I can't tell. Especially with the reset, it's 3 days. Like some people can't tell a huge difference in the photo, but if you put the photo after, their brain reads it that way. So that middle photo, it's the after photo and then the before photo and then the after photo. The other thing that I like about that photo best is is sometimes when people post before and afters, like the before photo is like really far away and then the after is like really close. So once again, your eyes can just sometimes play tricks on you and people are like, oh yeah, it only looks good because she's farther away from the camera. What you want to do is make sure you're always like, I try and always, the size of my head is not going to change. So I always try to get my head to be the same size in photos, which I feel like that shows the best comparison. Also, I try to wear the same clothes in before and afters. If not, just something that hits the same way as a pant line. If you don't have anyone to take your photos, because I'm really picky and I get mad at my husband because he doesn't take the right angle or the same thing every time, I actually set my camera on a windowsill and I have the same windowsill every single spot. But what you do is most cameras have this. I know I have the Apple or the iPhone. If you swipe up, there's gonna be a whole bunch of little buttons at the bottom. There's actually a little timer. I think it's like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I set those. And that way I take my own photos. If you have it facing you, you can see where you're posed. If you have it facing away so you can't see it, your photo will be more crisp. Just depends on your photo quality or how picky you're going to be with that. Also, if you don't like being photographed in sports bra, underwear, swimsuit, anything like that, I know a lot of people don't like that. One thing that I wish I would have done when I started my Plexus journey is I had a pair of jeans. Jeans are never, the shape of the jeans are never going to change. I mean, leggings sometimes suck me in, which is why I like them. But the pair of jeans is never going to change its shape unless you like dry them crazy like. So if you keep onto that pair of jeans and kind of always do that mirror selfie and hold on to the outside of your jeans, that tells an incredible story because when people see that photo, they're going to stop and read your caption because they want to know like, hey, I want my jeans to look like that. What did you do? So once again, those photos have to stop someone because if not, they're going to go, oh, great, here's another before and after that Haley just zoomed in, makes herself look chubbier. But so that. So if you want, I could always do an editing class, but I'm going to show you guys a couple simple tricks to how to edit your photos. Because not every single time you're going to have the best lighting. You're not going to have always the best spot to take them. So when you're in your photos, if you want to, you guys can pull up a photo on your phone. Sorry, I can't see anyone. But if you want, pull up a photo on your phone and you're going to slide up. There's going to be a whole bunch of options. And let's not overcomplicate it. I picked 4 things that I think really impact a photo. The first is contrast. I like to explain these like a black and white photo. Your contrast is going to be the blacks to the whites. So how far comparison those are going to be away from each other. So say your photo is like way too blown out, you can lower your contrast or up your contrast. Another little button, and a lot of them are the circles. You can kind of see I tried to get them in there. The next is the shadows and the highlights. Once again, your shadows plays with how dark the depth of your photo is, and the highlight plays with how white or the high contrast is in your photo. So you can play with that. So like, for an example, a lot of people took a picture of the Plexus banner at convention and the lighting in there was very harsh. And so if you're looking at one of those photos are a great example because I get rid of some of that. It takes away that darkness that was behind the photo and the person. And then once again, exposure is going to be the exposure of your entire photo. So that's just going to take, that's a really great one if you just want a quick step, because that's just going to be one move and it's going to brighten or darken your photo. Last step, now all those amazing photos that you guys took, save those to your boards. If you don't have boards, get it. It's an amazing option. I keep all my before and afters. I keep everything in there. But the really cool thing about boards is save all your favorite product photos, save everything. Because then when a new store, when you want to create a story on Instagram, instead of screenshotting someone else's stuff, screenshot their stuff, take their wording and tweak it, right? But then put it on your own photo. Because people, once again, like you said, sometimes people are oversaturated with the Plexus. Like someone's like, oh, I've already seen that. I've already seen that. Create your own, but use your own photos. It's super simple. Even if you go into Instagram, you can take your photo on a story and type in your own text. You can, if you love technology and you love Canva, it's awesome. But that's like a whole course in itself. If anyone who wants to do a Canva course, but that's a great way to make that Plexus content look like your own, even though if the words are the same, but people are drawn once again to your photos. These are 4 apps that I use almost daily. Layout is absolutely amazing for those before and afters. It allows you to make collages. I think you can hold up to like 8 or 9 photos in it, but it's awesome because you can click your before and your after, boom, it puts them together. Amazing. And it also makes really fun collages. Lens Buddy. Okay, guys, this is super fun. It's an app that you literally like, you can set up on a tripod or you can set up against your coffee mug. What you do is you go in and you click how many photos you want it to take, and it'll take the photos for you. So you don't have to set a time. Well, it sets a timer for you, but say I want 10 photos. And so I set my photo camera down on my windowsill and I step back and I take all my fun photos. It's a great way. So not every single photo is a selfie. Because I mean, sometimes you can only do so much. It captures a better full body. Photoshop, if you want to get really in depth in photographing or editing your photos, Photoshop is great. There is a monthly membership and there's a lot of stuff you can do in there. But if you ever have any questions on that, I could break that down for you. And lastly, not boards. As I said, I keep all my favorite photos, even if it's a selfie and I just love it. I don't want to keep it in my thing, but I want to use that for later on because sometimes like people always say, reuse those photos, reuse those posts that worked really well. Like why fix it if it's not broke? So keep your photos together and just takes the guesswork out of posting anything. And that was pretty much it. So thank you guys for letting me talk to you about photos and taking all the fun selfies. If you have any questions, I'll close out of this so I can actually read the chat.
It's going to take you about 15 minutes to read the chat. People are eating this up. This is so great. I'm so impressed. Haley got in touch with me a few weeks ago and said, hey, I'd love to maybe share a little bit about how to like take selfies. Would that be okay? And I was like, yeah, that's perfect. I had no idea you're going to go like high achiever, bringing out PowerPoint, all the things. This was incredible. Does anybody have any questions for Haley before we jump off? Haley, I want to give you time to read through the chat. Also, I did see that Carly was answering some questions. So you guys go back and read in the chat. She gave some really good answers and detail to what she's taking. So we won't close it out yet. But does anybody have any questions for Haley? Do you see Carly's question, Haley? Like, Carly, are you talking about the picture that she had where Jeff took a picture of her taking her selfie? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, that would be awesome. Just to send it in Gold Diggers, just because I couldn't remember all the angles that she had.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. I always tell people the 3 angles are straight on, MySpace, and down below. But I'll definitely send it because I'm such a visual person too. But that's kind of all like you remember the old, once again, how old I am, the MySpace photo where you're trying to get that really slender angle. And so, but I'll post that for you guys.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? So good. This was so very good. Thank you, Haley. Thank you, Carly. Thank you guys all for being on. Next week, we have Holly Hartwig, who's going to share her health testimonial. And then we've got Nancy, who's going to be talking through, I mean, she just had some explosive growth in her business. She's 50 credits away from earning the cruise for her and her husband. So she's like doing amazing. And she's going to be talking a lot about just the events that she's been doing in person, online, and how she's growing her business. So this is definitely an area that you're not going to want to miss next week. And then tomorrow is our last challenge of the business growth challenge. I'm sending out I think like 28 prizes that I owe people. So make sure that you jump on and do the personal growth plan for today and then tomorrow's challenge. And then don't forget to be looking in Rising Jewels because something very big is going to be dropping on Sunday afternoon, the 20th. Okay. Thank you guys for being on. Haley, Carly, you guys are amazing. Thank you all. You guys have a good night. Bye-bye.